Oh my God, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, you must write a letter and submit it to me immediately for review, and I will read it to the world, Donald Trump, because I'm Nancy Old Vagina Pelosi, and I will tell the world your message, Mr. Trump. That's what I'll do, Mr. Trump. I'm Old Vagina Pelosi. I'll read your message. Write a letter. Fucking message in a bottle in Congress. Throw it in the sea, Mr. Trump. Throw your message in a bottle in the sea. It'll reach Pelosi from across the sea. Fucking, she's fucking crazy, man. Lady's nuts, man. Message in a bottle. Nancy Pelosi. Write me a letter. You can write me a letter. Oh my gosh. That lady's freaking nuts. Freaking crazy. So Brendan's back online. He's on the Dilly Show. Now it's going to be called the Dilly Show. Brendan, the biggest piece of advice now that you're in the world of bands, don't trademark anything. Don't bother. Don't bother trademarking. So if the Dilly Show becomes a big hit, don't trademark it. Don't trademark that because they're just going to ban it. So that's my word of advice. Don't trademark anything. There's no need to. There's no need to. Everybody don't like somebody these days, I guess. I'm just me. I'm a man on an island. Giving my thoughts for free. That's my job. Anyway, besides my other job. She's just doing what her handlers tell her to say and do. Yeah, she's an elderly old lady. Pelosi, I don't think really is there anyway. I think she's kind of out there. Out there. And let me make one other point perfectly clear. I'm not anonymous, man. I don't know why people still think to this day I hide. Look, see my face? I'm just a handsome white fellow with a Trump hat on. Who believes in America. That's all. I'm just your average MAGA supporter. Sitting in his chair. I don't know why people keep thinking all that. No need to anymore. No need to. My name is Fior, but my friends call me Brian, so you can call me Brian. Other people know me as Zero. I've been out a long time. There's no secret who I am. I've been mistaken for 100,000 other people. That's okay. Only a few have ever got the docs right. To the ones that have, yay for you. Good job. But other than that, I'm just a regular guy. Giving regular thoughts. Doing regular things. You know, I get out of bed 1 foot. Just like everybody else. Just I'm not larger than life. I'm not a bigwig. I'm not like these other guys out there. I'm no praying medic or any of them guys. I'm just a regular guy. A regular Joe giving his thoughts on certain subjects. I'm not a celebrity. So yeah, I haven't been anonymous in years. Like shit. I mean, since 2017. We're in 2019 now. People got to let that go. The whole day of chasing Zero around, you got to let it go. You can't chase me anymore. You got to give it up. You know, I am me. I know I'm not a smart guy. I know that. I get that. But I think people overhype themselves too. You know, I don't want people to think I'm larger than life. I never have. I think everybody has something great to offer. The MAGA movement. Yeah. Hey, you've known my name a long time. See, Mike has always known my name because Mike's a dear friend of mine. So Mike online in 2016 would say Fior all the time, and I would laugh because Mike West knew my real name. He had always known it. And people never caught this guy who was sitting there on a little Twitter account. And every time he would put, "We are all Fior," right? He would do this, right? And people were trying to dox me. And here's this guy on a little account. And he was tweeting out my name the whole time.
And I was laughing constantly when he would do it because people weren't catching on what Mike West was doing. And Mike was trolling everybody by tweeting out my name, and I would laugh because, my name is very unusual and unique, and people didn't catch on to Mike's whole tweets back then. I would laugh my ass off. And when I would see him do it, I would be like, oh my God, he's tweeting my name. It's so funny. And people wouldn't even know what the guy was tweeting, but I knew what he was tweeting. It would make me chuckle, and I would retweet it. It was the funniest shit, but you would have to be on the inside of that joke. Yeah, so Mike is a longtime friend of mine. We go way back. I have much respect for him. He's gone through a lot in life, and he's a good guy. He's a patriot. I know people on terms of knowing them. In their personal sense, which makes me a lot different than other pundits out there. I actually get to know my followers. I get to know who they are, what's going on in their lives. I go the extra step for them. I don't alienate people. I think a lot of these platformers they don't really care about their follower counts like on a personal level. They want their money, but they don't go the extra mile to know who they are, like who they are as people, what they're going through with their families. They just don't, and you see it day after day. Whereas people like me and other people that are good pals of mine, we like to know what's going on in our friends' personal lives. I don't know. I was raised that way. When you make a friendship with people, you don't just ignore them. You have to know exactly, what's going on with them, and if they're hurting, you got to help them. I've always thought that. I guess that makes my platform a little different. And in this day and age, there's not enough people out there actually getting to know people. That's why America's so fucked up too. By the way, everybody's looking inward instead of outward. And that makes America fucked up too. Selfishness and greed is the worst thing on earth, And if you can't look out after other people before you do yourself, then really what good are you, right? You have nothing to offer. Selfishness is the worst. I hate it. Is being relevant on social media important in this day and age? Well, I think to some people it is. But really what makes you relevant, right? I mean, what makes you relevant in a sense? I mean, in the day of disinformation and fake news and misguided efforts, I think some people are becoming popular for a reason they probably shouldn't. This is a fad like anything else too. I've seen platforms go up and down, come and go. You have to be able to change with them, and this whole thing that's going on right now, it's a phenomenon, right? It's like anything else, and at some point it's going to ticker down. It's not going to be as popular as it was. And when that happens, some people aren't going to be able to do the shift. It's going to be hard. It's like anything else, it's just popularity. I would rather put out this kind of stuff where I'm just chatting than put out nonsense. What have we seen? Like, I have respect for Laura Loomer, but showing up at Nancy Pelosi's house with 4 of your friends and popping up a tent and acting foolish, I don't really think does much. It's cool, but I just don't see it as what does it do? Like, what are you doing? What was the end game with that? All of this theatrical stuff that goes on these days, you watch it and you shake your head like, wow. And it's on both sides. You watch the Democrats do it too. They storm into people's offices and there's no civility left. Whatever happened to the time you would sit down with a politician and actually talk to them? Whatever happened to the time you would go to Nancy Pelosi's office and say, hey, I would like to sit down with you and have a civil conversation. I know she can't do that. I get that, and I get that's the argument. But I think, you can't stop trying to have civil conversations with these people. I'm not bashing Loomer. I would just handle it a different way. That's just me. I would use a different tact. I would use civility over hostility, but that's me. And you know, and I think you can get more out of a politician by acting like, you know, being civil. And I don't think enough Republicans try it. Like, hey, let's sit down. Let's really have an honest conversation. And you know, I think people would get farther and be able to argue their points. You know, and I'm not talking scream at them, yell at them, do dumb shit. I'm saying sit down and say, hey, what is it that you oppose of with the wall? Why can't you do this? What is the major setback here? And then when they tell you their setbacks, you give them their counter. You know, you give them the counter to that. You know, the people who have died, the people who have been murdered, you know, the countless drugs that pour in from over the border, the sex trafficked children and women that come across the border. I mean, you got to be able to hit these guys with a reasonable, reproach to what they're talking about. And I think that's what's lost, is that I don't see anybody actually arguing the points enough that what is the overall reproach, and what is the objections to what Nancy Pelosi is talking about. Very few pundits are doing that. So in this day and age of what's going on, you know, and the Democrats are seasoned on this, right? They're seasoned on it, because when you act, you know, foolish or nutty or fruity, that's the only thing they're putting on the news. Let's be real. They're not going to put why she was doing in it. You know, average America's not like the rest of us. I'm telling you guys, they're not like the rest of us. We see it. We get the point. We know exactly what has to be done in order to restore civility in America, especially at the border. We get that. But your average American doesn't. They don't. They just don't get it. And, you know, we have to be careful of how extreme we're willing to go to expose the left, because it's going to backfire on us once in a while. And we're seeing that quite a bit lately. And we have to be careful. We have to really walk a fine line when it comes to agitating the left. Because what the left does is they turn it around into the average America. It gets put out by the mainstream media, who, whether we like it or not, is controlled by the Democratic, you know, machine. And so what they do is they cut that up. You saw him do it with Steve King. Steve King sat down to do an interview. I'm not bashing other conservatives either. I'm just giving my points of view. But Steve King sat down with New York Times, and they totally exploited what he had to say. You know, and that's what they do. They twist and they turn and they warp the sense of what was said, and all of these other things. And, you know, it doesn't get us anywhere. It actually sets us back. So we got to walk a fine line when it comes to, you know, what we do. And that's all I'm saying. You know, we got to be careful, especially coming up in 2020. We've got to be really careful, because they want that White House back. They want it back something awful. I don't think I've ever seen a time where they weren't frothing at the mouth to get back in the White House. I think this is the most angry and the most desperate I think I've ever seen the Democrats in my life. This is the most desperate. I'm not kidding. Like, they are so desperate right now. Desperate as can be. It's the craziest, man. And if people don't think they're desperate, oh man, they are. They're very desperate. They will run any horse that they think will win. You know, they're even going to try to copy Trump to try to get this done. You know, it's going to be crazy. 2020 is going to be an election like we've never seen before. It's going to get crazy, and I hope people are ready, because it's going to get nuts, and they're going to do some shit too. Believe it or not, I fully expect the Democrats to use our tactics, you know, like showing up at, I don't know, Trump Tower, or showing up at Trump's businesses, you know, just crazy shit, man. Showing up at Republicans' homes, you know, showing up at Republicans' offices. They're going to do the same shit. Like, people better get ready. They're going to do that kind of shit. The whole thing is going to get crazy. I mean, they wanna copy us, but we need to actually, yes, keep the pressure up. That's one, but we have got to really, really get ready to, mobilize when it comes to pushing their favorite candidates back. That was going to be Michael Avenatti before he crashed and burned. Yeah, Michael Avenatti, he's over with. Like, that guy, I didn't expect him to run anyway. He wasn't that likable. I mean, he's a pit bull New Yorker, but I didn't see him running material. The people that are going to be popular is, I think, to me, is going to be Michael Bloomberg and Tulsi Gabbard. I think they're the both that can probably get middle America kind of, if they're, the Democrats up the middle, they're going to be able to swoop in and grab those votes. But those are the two that I see that are going to be the big runners. Kamala Harris ain't going to make it out of the gate. Kamala Harris is a nobody. I think too many people are trying with this Kamala Harris stuff. I don't see her. She's not likable. Listen to her talk. She's dry paint, man. She's really got nothing there. She's loudmouth. She's kind of obnoxious. She's self-righteous. People aren't going to like that. She's Hillary Clinton, but she's black. I don't see her as likable. I really don't. I've watched a lot of her speeches and stuff, and I just think America's not going to like her. Like I said, she's Hillary Clinton, but with a different skin color. Nobody's going to pay attention to her. And the whole, Whitey got me down shit. Nobody going to want to listen to that anymore either. The days of the Whitey got me down speeches, those are over. That left with Barack Obama when he left the White House. That's all done with. What people are going to be attracted to are moderate Democrats. That's where the attraction's going to be this time around. It's not going to be about who's the most liberal. I'm telling you, it's going to come down to moderates. And we're not talking about the loudest on Twitter either. That's only a microcosm of both parties, right? I think this is what people don't realize, too. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party on Twitter are microcosms of the party. We are the most outspoken, the most knowledgeable, and the most advanced in the party, right? Because we're heavily involved in the political spectrum. Whereas the rest of America, they're kind of, okay, we vote, and then we hire who we elected. Those are what we call the moderate base, and they go with the feel of the country, right? This is what happens, and if they run a moderate, we're going to be in trouble. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be a hard-fought race. And, I think people are underestimating the power of the Democrats and where they're going to come out with a moderate. I do see a moderate coming. And people are going to have to learn, okay, we're going to have to shift from attack mode and being outrageous to, okay, we have to go after the policies of this person. What are their policies? What agendas are they pushing? What foreign agendas are they pushing? We're going to have to actually go into what we call the real heart of the matter of politics and debate policies and legislation, what is good, what is bad. It's going to be a different theme, I think, in 2019 and 2020. It's not going to be the same stuff. I think Tulsi is one of the strong runners, along with, like I said, Bloomberg. Those two are going to be, I think, front and center when it comes up. I really do. Bloomberg, because he can match Trump with mouth. So Bloomberg's a factor in this because he won't take Trump's griff. He'll give it back. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm just saying he's a New Yorker. He's going to do the same thing Trump does. So you're going to see that coming out of him. And Tulsi also isn't going to take it. She's going to say it like it is. But I think policy-wise, people have got to be ready when these guys come out, because these moderates are going to be talking policy over and over and over again about, what they can do, how they can do it. Don't underestimate Bloomberg, man. The guy is he's a financial mastermind. And he has a stronger empire than Trump ever has, whether you like it or not. Look him up, man. He's not a force to be fooled with. You have to take these runners that are coming out this time around. You've got to take them serious. This isn't Hillary Clinton we're dealing with here. This isn't Hillary Clinton. These are going to be very viable candidates. I'm sorry, but 2016 was a joke. It really was. I mean, when they ran Hillary, it was the best that probably we have ever gotten because Hillary couldn't win. She just couldn't. There was no way she could win. Even though she got as many votes as she did, I was surprised. But then again, I mean, Jill Stein. I mean, if you look at the 2016 elections, there really wasn't a whole lot besides Trump to pick from. There just wasn't. I mean, we had Hillary Clinton, and then we had Jill Stein, you know. And I think, you know, what we're going to see in 2020 is a whole different game. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to come into this that actually I think have some clout. That Julio guy, he's not going to go anywhere. I don't even know why he's running. I think he's running just to say he ran for president because his mama wanted him to. That's the only thing I've heard out of his mouth. My mama would be so proud that I ran for president. Well, I guess, okay. So your mama's proud. You can drop out now. But that guy ain't winning a pickle. That guy ain't winning. He's as likable as cement. I'm telling you, that guy ain't got no pizzazz. You know, Democrats do learn from mistakes. Yes, they study their enemy. You know, I always say don't underestimate the Democrats, man. Do not underestimate the Democrats. That's the one thing they're good at. They can adapt. Why do you think they've made it this long? I think people underestimate the Democrats. And that's mistake number one. The Republican Party has gotten cocky. That's a problem too. We've got to dial it back a little bit. I know I have the best accents in the world. I have accents from all over the world. You would not understand how good they are. I really like you. You're so nice. You're so nice. I had a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich for the lunch. So I did that, and it was nice. But yeah, I have all kinds of accents, man. That was my half Chinese, half Mexican accent. It's a little bit of both. I like to mix it up. So it's my Mexican-Chinese migrant that came over the border last week. How do you do? I do good. Okay, thank you so much. But anyway, yeah, so I got one for everybody. Yeah, greetings, Earthlings, greetings. But so I started using the Cash App. It's a new Apple app, and they've teamed up with Twitter, and they're going to have debit cards. So I was like, okay, so Twitter has made a Cash App along with Apple, and I said, okay, I'll try this out. So I downloaded the Cash App. The reason why I want to try it out and run my donations through it, because we all know how much Twitter hates conservatives. But Apple, on the other hand, is a Goliath. So who is going to win the battle when they start kicking conservatives off this platform? So I automatically signed up for it. I'm like, I got to try this because, you know, as conservatives, we've got to push the envelope. And we have to join these networks as they come up. And it's really important to do that, you know, because in order, you know, you don't want to be scared from touching a platform, one. And you definitely want to join it. That way, when they kick you off, you can say, look, they kicked me off because I'm a conservative. So right now I'm saying that, you know, I'm a conservative and I joined Cash App on purpose. And if you kick me off, that's discrimination. That's what I'm saying. So I've just joined today Cash App. And if they kick me off, it's because I'm a conservative and it's discrimination. And I'm going to start crowdfunding through it. And so if they try to play these games, I don't want to use a third party app that's already conservative friendly. What I want to do is use the apps that they hate conservatives on, because I want to push the envelope, because this is important for what's to come. Social media is going to get scrutinized sooner or later, right? They're going to get scrutinized. It's going to happen. And there's going to be some antitrust laws coming at them. Maybe not this month, maybe not 6 months from now, but maybe a year from now. So we must, as conservatives, start going on these social media platforms and pushing the envelope, because when these guys get sued, guess what? I'm going to be part of that lawsuit because they discriminated against me. So that's the whole point of going up onto these platforms, is that when shit does hit the fan, you have a gripe. You can be one of those people in the line to say, look, they took me down. They took me down for being outspoken. They took my account down for saying something. And then you have a place at the seat when these guys get sued. And you've got to do this, man. And to run away from the problem doesn't solve the problem. To find an alternative doesn't solve the problem. You've got to be able to say, look, back during civil rights, remember the little black girl who dared get on the bus and sit in the seat? That's basically what conservatives got to do. You got to be that little black girl and get up on their platforms and sit in that seat and refuse to get off the bus. And until conservatives actually think in that type of manner, you're going to keep getting pushed around on social media platforms. That's why I won't leave social media. There's no law in this land that says you can't make another account when they ban you. There's no law in this land that says that they can, just wipe you out. That's why you can make new accounts and come back. That's the whole point of it. And every time they do it, you just make a new account and you come back on. And you count every time they've banned you. And, I think if you don't make a threat at people, you shouldn't be banned. Like if I think, like one time I made a tweet and I said, I think all liberals should trip and expire in mud puddles. I didn't say it at anybody. It was just a joke because I think they're stupid. So, it's like, wow. You know better, but last year my iPhone got hacked, or the Tunes app. Yeah, well, you got to be careful. You've got to be careful. Any app can be hacked. You got to be careful with your passwords. I mean, we're living in a day and age there's hackers everywhere. They'll get you at Walmart. They'll get you at stores. They'll get you here. They'll get you there. That's why whenever I see people get worried about hacking and stuff. Trust me, you could go to your local McDonald's this afternoon and run your debit card, and somebody could get your number. There's always people out there trying to get one up on people. The good thing about like credit cards and debit cards is that they're protected. And if someone does use them fraudulently, the bank has to eat that. And that's, and then they have to chase these criminals down for their money. But I don't run around in fear when it comes to like online stuff, especially on, main branch platforms like Apple and PayPal and things like that. I mean, they're federally protected. They're just like a bank. So that means if you get hacked because of them, they have to cover that cost, in the end. So I don't really worry about that stuff. The world is going to end up digital banking, right? It's going to happen. Your mobile phone will become your debit card sooner or later. We can't change progress. They've already started. Some ATMs you can walk up to it and literally point your phone at the ATM and you can pull money out just by your phone, just by walking up and pointing your phone at the ATM. It's the most crazy stuff. I just saw a review about it. So you can walk up, you can point your phone at the ATM, and then boom, you're pulling money out of your ATM. It's crazy. But that's the way the world's going. So sooner or later, we're going to move to a full digital environment. There's no stopping it now that, the ball is gone. What was it? Uber last week released a report. They're going to have flying cars by 2023. You're going to be able to call an Uber, and they're going to fly you somewhere. These little hover machines. The craziest shit, man. So, tech is changing really fast, man. Like at a rapid rate, probably the fastest we've ever seen it in our lifetimes. It's nuts what they're able to do right now, and it's just getting faster and faster. IBM just built the first quantum computer for civilian use. So now IBM's rocking a quantum computer right in their factory. So we're seeing these leaps and bounds. So if IBM has a quantum computer sitting in their factory, imagine what the government is using. Imagine what they're using. If the public can now use quantum computers, what is the government have in their toy chest? Because the government's always 20 years ahead of us. Remember that. 10 to 20 years ahead of us, the government is on technology. So, I mean, wow. Just imagine what they're rocking up in there. I don't even want to know. But they hacked Julian Assange, so they're rocking something nice. Let's put it that way. Yeah, if they can hack Julian Assange, you know they're rocking something. So, you know, they got WikiLeaks. You guys do know that, right? It was in the Daily UK. The U.S. government hacked WikiLeaks. So WikiLeaks, the hacker leaking outlet got hacked by the U.S. government. So the getters got. Imagine that. So they just pretty much reversed it. You know, instead of like getting their stuff turned over to WikiLeaks, they went into WikiLeaks and took all their stuff. So now they got all of those other countries' documents that were leaked to them and all kinds of shit. They got all of Julian Assange's emails. They were having a field day. I wonder if they'll ever release how it was done and who was behind it. But it must have been a pretty amazing thing to hack one of the most elite public agencies and take everything they got and walk away with it laughing. I mean, it must have been funny as shit. But that's how it goes, right? That's the business you're in. You know, you got yours the way you got yours, and they're going to get theirs the way they got theirs, and they got it. So, and in the emails, Julian Assange was actually emailing Russian agents. He's screwed, man. I was talking about this the other day. Julian Assange is screwed. You know, they got correspondence. You know, it's one thing to speculate that he was, in contact with Russian government agents, but they have concrete emails that he was in contact with Russian government agents. I don't think it gets any more clearer than that he was colluding with the Russians during the 2016 campaign era. It doesn't get any more concrete than that. So, you know, if you're emailing Russian agents and, the GRU, you're pretty much a Russian agent yourself. So I've long thought in the recent months that Julian Assange was a Russian operative. You know, I've thought it for a while. And, you know, I think they turned him when he was over there. Julian Assange had a hit TV show in Russia. Well, it wasn't a hit TV show, but it was on like one of their public network access channels, and over there. And I think he got turned while he was there. You know, it happens. You know, and I think where he's critical of other governments, I think he just made a deal with the devil. You know, if you get the old fig, waved in front of you, it happens. And I thought for a while now he's been compromised, but that article definitely pointed it out because we went in and got the goods, and kudos to the CIA and the NSA. I mean, the world has a right to know, right? I mean, let's be honest. If Julian Assange is a Russian agent, or a spy, or a peddler of espionage materials, the world has a right to know. And I hope if he does go to trial, and they do bring him to trial, I hope they release those emails, because I think it's going to be important for people to understand exactly what was going on, and for people to understand that, he wasn't as good of a guy as they thought he was. So I think when they take him to trial, if he does go on trial, I think they should release those emails to the public and exactly what they are and who he was talking to and what he was doing. I think it's very important because a lot of people think he's a superhero. So I think if they see the emails where, look, he's, contacting the Russian government, they're actually giving him the goods, I think it's going to change a lot of people's minds on how they look at, Julian Assange, and is he really a journalist or is he more of a spy pretending to be a journalist? I think that's the problem here. The major problem here is that, you can't be a spy and pretend to be a journalist. It doesn't work that way. And I think that's what we're going to find in his court case, is that he hid behind the spectrum of journalism in order to do his espionage acts. And, that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem because that means any government could set up a media outlet, and then start leaking other people's stuff. And they could just go, okay, that's journalism, and we can't have that either. That's absolutely crazy to think that any government could do that. I mean, imagine if China said, look, we're starting a journalism outlet and we're going to leak America's data. That's not how it works, right? And I think that's how, Pompeo's looking at this. So I get why they're going after him. I wasn't understanding at first why the Trump administration was going after him as hard as they are, but they have seen the evidence, right? They have seen the evidence. So, I get why they're doing it. We cannot have spies posing as journalists. And I think they should make a distinct clarification of that fact, too. I really do. When they make an example of him, because they're going to have to, they really need to emphasize that spies cannot pose as journalists because they'll get caught. And I think that will probably help settle that argument of, where Julian Assange lies in the era of, freedom of information and things like that. Because if you're getting your information from a Russian, military personnel sanctioned by the Russian government, I think you fall more under the lines of a spy, not a journalist. Because, most people get their documents from whistleblowers. They're not offered by heads of government and, military, outfits and things like that. It just doesn't happen that way. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that whole case. I'm interested to see where it goes. But I hope they release the emails, because if they do have emails, like I said, of him contacting the Russian military to get those emails, I think he's fucked. I think he's done. And I think that will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was, an operation by the Russian government. I think that they need to be transparent with, especially with journalism is concerned. They need to be able to, separate the two, journalism and spy and espionage. They just need to do that. Is that a sickle? No, that's Donald Trump's signature. It's a Trump hat. Is that a sickle? Oh my gosh. No, it's a Trump 2020 campaign hat. So, yeah. Yeah. No, it's Donald Trump's signature. It's in gold though. It's his 2020 campaign hat. I got it at a rally recently. So they were selling his 2020 campaign hats. So, yeah. It's a pretty cool hat, though. But, yeah, it's got, Make America Great Again. It's got Trump 2020. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because of the whole, he's a Russian shit and stuff. Yeah. But, yeah, I'm excited to, yeah. But, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I don't want to go on forever. This has been my afternoon report. I'll be back later. You guys be good. Maybe tonight I'll do a scope, too. And we'll do another scope. Peace.